Good morning. It is December 6th, 2018. We're here today with Mike Robertson, and I am Deb Lawrence. This is for the Peabody Public Library Oral History Veterans History Project. Good morning.
Good morning.
First thing I want to do is thank you for your service.
Thank you.
And we'll just get to it. So what branch were you in?
I was in the United States Marine Corps.
Okay, and what were the dates?
July of 1970 to July of 1974.
Okay, what did you do?
Well, my original MOS was 2531, which is a field radio operator. I was basically a grunt with a radio on my back. No.
Okay, and so what did that entail? Were you calling in troops? Were you telling where your troops were?
Whatever needed to be done, you stayed close to the platoon sergeant or the commander, the platoon commander, whoever you happen to be with, highest ranker. That way, if he needed to call in anything, we were right there.
Okay.
You could do whatever.
And where were you deployed?
Well, in 71, I went to Okinawa and hooked up with 3rd Recon Battalion, and that was my favorite year, and we went all over the year that I was there. We did a lot of training. I was on one of the early Marine Corps Cliff Assault teams. We did a lot of training there with inflatable boats and all kinds of rappelling, climbing. We were left on the USS Tripoli and went to Vietnam, and from there, well, before we got too far going, they sent us over to the India-Pakistan War.
Oh, wow.
So I didn't spend much time in Vietnam.
Mm-hmm.
But they sent us over there, and it's when I guess the Pakistanis or the Indians were not going to let the American civilians leave. They were holding them hostage.
Mm-hmm.
So they sent us over there to take care of that. And we did some other little things too.
Okay, well, let's back up a little bit. Were you drafted or did you enlist?
I enlisted.
Okay, and how did that come about? How did you do that?
Ever since I was small, I'd always wanted to be in the Marines. So when I got to be 17, we called the Marine recruiter and had him come out and talk to my dad and mom and me, and he said, we do have something called the 180-day delayed enlistment. So I said, oh, I like that. I could enlist while I was still in high school, and then when I turned 18, I could go on active duty, and then part of my inactive reserve was taken care of, and then I also is accounted for my promotion, first promotion. So while we were there, my mom and dad said, well, do you have anything besides 4 years? And the recruiter said, yeah, we can get 2 or 3. And they tried to talk me into it, said, hey, you can sign for 4, or I'll wait till I'm 18 and sign.
Wow.
So we signed up for 4, and I turned 18 June 30th of 1970 and graduated high school. And then shortly after the 4th of July, I was down to Indianapolis, physical, and then to the airport and flight to San Diego.
Okay, so you were in San Diego.
I was San Diego Marine.
Okay, so how did I don't know if Marines call it basic training or whatever.
Boot camp.
How'd that go?
First big mistake, I did not get in shape. I was pretty large guy, and I didn't get in shape. I weighed about 210, 215 when I went to boot camp. It was rough. I didn't mind it. I mean, it was fine.
Mm-hmm.
When we got done with boot camp and got done to rifle range and got out, I weighed 175 pounds, so they had to reissue me all new uniforms.
Wow.
So I was in pretty good shape when I got, but I'm telling you, if anybody ever looks at this and decides to think about going, get in shape before you go. It's a rough road to hoe if you're not.
So was it rather eye-opening when you stepped off that bus or plane or whatever?
When we got to the recruit depot, everything was fine and peaceful till we got there. And then the drill instructors met us. They were throwing people off the bus. We had to go stand on the little yellow footprints, which I'm sure you've heard about before. And my God, it was organized chaos. They threw us out the buses, and we stood there to get haircuts. And a lot of the guys had real long hair, and these barbers were they had a ball. But I didn't mind that. And then they took us around, and we got packaged up our civilian clothes and put them in boxes and sent them home. And we got our first issue, which is tennis shoes, green trousers, and a gray sweatshirt. That's the first boot When you can tell what phase of boot camp the Marines are in by what they're wearing. Sweatshirt and tennis shoes is your very first phase. That was pretty. It was a shock. I was from Bluffton, small town, never seen all this kind of stuff before, so it was quite a shock. But kind of was ready for it, but I kind of wasn't.
Yeah.
So it was
Okay, so how long did your boot camp last?
I can't remember. I think it was 12 weeks.
Forever?
Yeah, I think it was 12 weeks. I kept trying to think when that was, but I can't remember exactly how long that was.
So the guys that were in boot camp with you, were they deployed with you?
No, after boot camp was over, everybody went. Now there's some of the guys I was with, we went to radio school together. But then after boot camp and ITR, which is your infantry training, then everybody got their MOSs. They knew what the MOS was, which is your job. And they went on, everybody went their separate ways to their different trainings or whatever they had to go to.
Okay, so from your training to being deployed, how long was...
After I got my, graduated from radio school, they sent me to Camp Lejeune. And I was there a short time. Since I was a radio operator, the Marine Corps found that they should be putting me in a teletype office. Well, I didn't know anything about teletype.
Okay.
So I had to learn that. And then after, I was only at Camp Lejeune for a short time, and then I was sent to Okinawa.
Okay.
And when I got there, they said, hey, does anybody know how to swim? I was a really good swimmer, so I raised my hand. They said, 3rd Recon. I said, oh, no.
Yeah.
And then after a while, I said, oh, yeah. I loved it.
Oh, good.
Absolutely loved it.
Okay, so you've been to Okinawa, you've been to India, Pakistan. Where from there?
I have been, besides there, I've been to Japan, Sasebo, Japan, Hong Kong, Manila, or the Philippines, and where else? A couple other places.
Well, I'm assuming you got leave
Different
occasionally,
places.
so you got to travel that way as well.
Mm-hmm.
Neat. Where was your favorite spot to travel?
Along the Po in the Philippines. I imagine a lot of guys my age will probably say the same thing.
Oh yeah.
It was a good duty spot, or a good liberty
Cool.
spot.
Cool.
Plus they had a big base right there too, the Navy did.
So you were able to talk to your folks back home or write letters or...
Wrote letters. While I was on Okinawa, I called them a couple times, but mostly it was letters, and we wrote back and forth quite a bit. And when I was overseas, I could just write "free" in the corner of my envelope, and it was free mail.
Wow.
So,
Wow.
yeah, it was pretty nice.
Okay. Did you have a sweetheart when you left?
Kinda, yeah, but not, you know what I mean? But, no, as far as I'm concerned, if you're in the military, and I'm sorry, but you shouldn't be married. I mean, that's a rough road for a wife, especially if you're gonna be deployed.
Right.
So, no,
Right.
I held off till for a long time.
Yeah.
So I didn't.
So you were in for 4 years, then are you in the reserves or?
No. I went
just-
into the reserves for a short time. It was probably in the late 70s. But I just didn't care for it because I didn't feel the way the Marine Corps was. So I didn't have to stay in the reserve. I signed up and I went 2 or 3 meetings and stuff, and it was a communications unit out of Fort Wayne. And I thought, God, this is not
Okay.
the Marine Corps that I was used to. So I thought, that's enough.
Okay. The gentlemen, other Marines that were in your unit, do you keep in touch with them? Do you talk to them at all?
No, I haven't seen or heard of him forever. There was one guy that I just can't find. I can't remember his last name. I got pictures, but I can't remember if he was from Kendallville or Columbia City. This was a long time ago, but I think it was Kendall. I can't remember. But I've taken pictures of him to our club here. Nobody recognizes him.
Nobody knows
yeah.
him. Yep.
Yeah, he asked me when I was leaving before he was, he wanted me to come home and have dinner with his family and everything, tell him he was okay and all that, so I did all that for him. But I lost contact with him.
Aw. Well, I know you're in the Leatherneck Coffee Club, near and dear to my heart. You're my guys. Are you in any other service urban organizations? No.
I have been in the past a member of the VFW and the Legion, but I just don't go there. I don't drink much. So I don't go to those, and some of the places like the VFW, I can't handle the smoke inside.
Okay.
So,
Okay. So what else would you like to tell us?
well, I am just so glad that the men and women coming back now and are getting the support and the recognition that they deserve, because back in the late 60s and 70s, it was not a good time to be in the military. There were just too many demonstrations going on. It was not comfortable. I wouldn't even fly home with my uniform on. I would change because we had some problems. But I'm glad to see now that they're getting the recognition they deserve, and it just tickles me when somebody says thank you. Something was very touching. My grandkids go to Cherubusco High School, and they had their Veterans Appreciation, and it's probably one of the best I've ever been to. 2 or 3 of us guys from the club went. My neighbor's a Marine, he went too, and they had the elementary kids in all the hallways because they couldn't fit in the room where we have the big room. And so when we went through there, they were clapping and holding up pictures and thanking it. It brought tears to our eyes. It was absolutely wonderful.
That's marvelous.
Just wonderful.
That's
So,
marvelous.
I talked to some other guys that I know that were there, and they said the same thing.
So it wasn't a pretty sight when you got home.
No. Now, when I got, as long as I was on the West Coast and stuff, it was pretty bad. But when I get back to Bluffton, it was fine. But it took a long time before I even say, yeah, I was in the military. It took a long time. That's why now we got the Leatherneck Club. We can talk to each other. I'm proud to have been a Marine. I always was, but I just never brought it up. So I'm glad that that's changed. Glad it's changed.
Good.
And hope the future military guys works out great for them too.
Hope so. Yep. All right. Well, I guess we've covered just about everything. So I once again would like to thank you for your service, and thank you for doing our interview.
Thank you.